Hello, welcome back to the 2024 Mammoth Trail Fest presented by Solomon. My name is Dylan Bowman, joined again by Corrine Malcolm for the VK wrap-up show, the 50K preview show, and also Corrine is about to pin a bib on for the 10K tonight.
More like 10 yay.
10, yeah, yes. Are you like putting a game face on?
No,
Like,
not at all.
are you like carb loading? Like, what's your mentality?
I did take
like
a
right
nap
now?
today, which was
So
great.
did I, a hard nap.
And then I went and picked up my bib and I got my glow sticks, so I am ready to go.
You got your mandatory headlamp and all?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. And joining us in studio is the champion here today, Abby Locke. Abby, welcome to the studio here. Grab that microphone. Big round of applause for Abby Locke, our champion here today. Abby, before we get to you, a big thank you to the team behind the scenes, the Mountain Outpost crew, bringing all the best trail running content to your living room, wherever you are watching us throughout race weekend and throughout many race weekends this entire summer. Hardest working team out there. Corinne's got the YouTube up, so if you want to jump in the chat, let us know where you're watching from or drop a question in there. Maybe we'll introduce them into the conversation. Abby, congratulations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So not only did you win the race, but you set what is the course record on now the true course, and also you took the Strava segment. A very, very proud Strava segment.
Yeah, I looked at that afterwards and I was just like amazed. I mean, granted, those women were running the whole course, so that's really impressive, but it was really cool to see my name up with the greats of the sport. So yeah, that was an awesome day.
Yeah, we got our fingers locked, or fingers crossed, not locked, maybe locked as well, that you don't get any messages on a Sunday.
Oh, I know. I bet I will though.
Yeah.
I bet I will.
Yeah, we'll see if like Joyce and Jeru or Judith Wider or Lauren Gregory on a
Send it up the hill.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, I've seen Lauren's climbs on Kendall Mountain, and I've been chasing her time up there, and I'm just so impressed how she does at altitude. So I'm very excited to watch.
Well, you're a bit of an altitude gal too.
Yeah.
You're based in Durango, is what we gather.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Cortez, which is like a little town very close. So yeah, I do a lot of my training in Durango and Silverton. So yeah, altitude's great.
And you do sort of a little bit of van lifing there?
Yeah. My fiance and I, we're in a minibus, and so we kind of bounce around and enjoy life. We'll be on the East Coast this winter, get to do some like technical trail and get better at descending because I'm really not there yet, but it's a skill I got to work on.
Well, you're very good at running uphill.
I love running uphill.
Yeah, you made it look easy at the top. Remy made it look very easy, and then all of a sudden we saw your finish across the traverse and those final switchbacks with Tim chasing you, and you also made it look very easy.
Tim chasing me at the end there was amazing because he was just yelling with the cowbell. He's like, one more turn. And my gap pace on my Strava was like 5:40 for that little bit where he was chasing me. I'm like, thanks, Tim.
Little Tim boost.
Yeah.
So I remembered today after the race that we met at Broken Arrow, and which I'd love to talk about briefly also, but maybe first just share a little bit about your story with the sport, because obviously you are going to be a newer name to some people.
Yeah. I haven't raced a bunch, obviously. But I started when I was like in middle school, high school. I kind of took some time off when I went to college. I didn't run in college, even though my coach really wanted me to, but I just didn't want to burn out. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I like have a better relationship with the sport now. And maybe over the past like 2 years, I've started like really starting to dial in my training. My fiance is a great coach. He kind of like guides me in that process. And I also coach some athletes myself, so I learn kind of through that as well. But I love the sport and the community, and I'm super stoked to be racing more often.
Racing at a very, very high level. So then talking about Broken Arrow quickly, I recall that after the VK where you were 7th? I
was right behind Rachel Tomajic.
Yeah. Which was obviously a drag race of a VK.
Yeah, that was really cool because it was amazing to race with like the top women and be right there with them and like be like, okay, I can hang like on these uphills, you know. And then I like kind of got a last minute bib to race the 23K.
I remember because we chatted. Yeah. And like, well, maybe you could get into the 23K. And I said to the race director, Brendan Madigan, I was like, hey, I know you got a lot on your plate right now, but we may want to kick down a bib.
Yeah. So I lucked out with that. I had a tough day. Just like some variables came up, like a shoelace broke, and there were just like multiple things.
Finished 8th place.
It was a good day. It was a good experience, and I learned a lot. So Yeah.
I mean, that should give you a lot of confidence. 8th place in a world-class event.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
okay.
amazing. It was amazing to watch Joyce and also Jade. Like Jade crushed it there.
She's
So I
been
was
on a
really,
burner.
yeah, she is. She's gonna do great at Canadian Mountain Running Champs.
Yeah. So I guess speaking of, will we see you double back on Sunday this weekend?
So I have a bit of an IT band thing going on. I am signed up and I'm really considering starting. I don't know how the descent is going to treat me. So that is where I'm kind of going to have to wake up and make that decision on race day, but I really want to race.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe run with the foam roller in your
I know,
back
right? Just like
pocket.
the lacrosse ball
Yeah,
and
the
like lay
lacrosse ball.
down and
That's easier than
TFL.
a foam roller.
Yeah.
If Tim's up at the top, he can just do some PT treatment on you up there and then
Perfect.
send you down the hill.
Yeah, chasing me with the cowbell.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
Race director, PT, he does it all.
Yeah.
So before we get to the race today, what else have you been up to this summer between Broken Arrow and Mammoth Trail Fest?
Well, I did a local race in Durango, the Kennebec Mountain Run, and that one's a super fun one. It's just another like up down, and I set the counterclockwise course record on that. So that was pretty exciting. But yeah, otherwise, like I haven't been doing more racing than that. I have my eye on the Trail Half Champs in Moab.
Awesome.
If the IT band cooperates.
Yeah.
So that's fingers crossed. Yeah.
I was going to say kind of like after the season that you've been putting together slowly, like, and obviously maybe Moab for the half champs later this fall.
Yeah.
But are you like, this is the time of year where we all start thinking about 2025 as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of curious what you've got your eyes set on.
I really want to race Pikes Peak, just the ascent next year, because I just feel like there's been so many amazing times thrown down on that it's like it's a classic course, and I just want to see where I stand in that specific, like, I don't know, skill set.
Chase the ghosts of history.
Exactly.
on
Exactly.
the iconic mountain. All
Yeah.
right, so talking about today, 43 flat on the segment itself. I'll have to pull up the official finishing time, which I do have up here on my computer as well. So yeah, there's a distinction between the Strava segment CR and the finishing time. So you finished in 43:53. So a little bit of a delta there between the Strava segment and the actual race time. We saw you on the start line, and we were just trying to like identify people, and obviously it was difficult early in the day, and especially with somebody who's sort of like a
Yeah.
lesser known up and comer at this point. Just tell us how it played out, because it seemed like you sort of had, like, as soon as we had a visual on the front running female, it was you, and so it seemed like you sort of had control of it.
Yeah, like
from the
a
beginning.
wire to wire win is what it looked like from our end anyway.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of went out pretty hot on that bridge start, but yeah, I kind of like, I feel like I positioned myself okay. I got a little bogged down behind some of the head, like the men who started out, but not too bad, because that single track is pretty thin, so I lost a little bit of time there, but otherwise I feel like it went really well. I'm notorious for going out kind of slow. So I tried not to do that this time, and I feel like it went pretty well. And then like right around, I want to say like the halfway point, I really was starting to feel terrible. Right, like where it got kind of rocky and you can't really rely on like rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a rhythm runner. So that's like something that always kind of messes with my head a little bit. But then, yeah, like once it started like easing up with the rockiness, it was kind of a lot more like an uphill treadmill grind. So I love that.
Sort of like a solo time trial.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you never were shoulder to shoulder with,
Not with
like,
any.
Summer was second place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like kind of chasing some of the men. Like it was nice
Yeah,
to like
you're
have.
like in a
9th
comfy
overall,
spot
right?
in the top 10
Yeah,
overall.
9th
Yeah.
overall.
And I did pass at least one man. I can't remember who it was, but I did at some point.
And you were
But
like, nice.
yeah, that's always fun. I'm
Yeah.
like, cool.
I guess the other question that we had on our mind this morning was we got snow overnight. So there was snow
Yeah.
up on the top part of the course. Was that a plus, a minus? Were you
I
excited to see
mean,
that?
I was excited to see it because I'm like, I love fall and I love, the beginning of winter. But I was like, that did change my shoe choice. I did go with the VJ Max 2, which is like
Oh,
an awesome choice
hyper
for
aggressive, yeah.
anything wet. Like I wasn't sure how it would be with like the rocks. If it's ever wet rock, like I always go with the VJ. So that was awesome. My original thought was the Pulsar 3, but just because it's a light and fantastic uphill running shoe.
Mhm.
But I was happy with my choice today.
Yeah. one of the other things that we talked about during the broadcast was just the type of athlete that excels in these VK and VK adjacent type races where it is just sort of a VO2 max suffer fest.
Yeah.
Talk about like the skill set necessary for just the pure uphill races. You said you're less confident in your downhilling ability, but it's a great skill to have to be able to really push yourself uphill. So just the skill set required and maybe any sort of training that you do specifically for these types of races.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, I've always been more inclined to uphill, like running. Even when I was in high school, I loved the hill workouts that my coach gave me. I would just try to run as many reps as I could, which was crazy at the time. But now, like with training, I focus a lot more on, I'll do like a long tempo effort each week on a climb that I really enjoy or like that I want to kind of like go after a segment or whatever. And then I'll also do some shorter intervals like VO2 work, like 1 minute hills or 3 minute hills. And that's kind of my other piece of the puzzle. That's like the higher, like top end work.
Ouch, those workouts are painful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're both in studio being like, we're semi-retired.
That's
Man, I need to get back into those 3 minute
We
uphill
should do
VO2
some
max
workouts.
yeah, I'm definitely more of like the intensity. Like I enjoy that more than I do the long run. Like hard workouts are fun.
Well, congratulations. Any other
Thank you.
No,
comments, questions for our champion
I think
here?
the biggest thing is that we've got our fingers crossed that your IT band feels good on
Yeah,
Sunday.
definitely.
Me too.
Because we'd love to
Me
see
too.
you in that field.
Thank you. I
I'm gonna-
appreciate it.
We'll
By
be
the-
keeping our eyes out too.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop your Strava activity in the chat here eventually by the time the show is
Sweet.
over. So everybody who's watching, go follow Abigail Locke on Strava. We'll celebrate the segment while it lasts. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll last more than
I don't know. These
48
women are
hours,
fast.
but we can see. But congratulations. Thanks for coming in studio. And like Corrine said, yeah, good luck on Sunday if you take the start line.
Thank you so
Big round
much.
of applause for our champion, Abby Locke. Thank you, Abby. Next up, our third place finisher here. One of the stories of the day, making your way to the couch.
Know what I just realized in the chat?
What's that?
We've met Summer Allen before.
Have we?
She's Christian Allen's wife.
Oh, of course.
So
How did we
why
not
are the
put that
grandparents watching
together?
the kids? Where's Christian?
Yeah, come on, Christian, you pick up the slack.
Yeah,
Let
we
mom
need
come in and
mom in
celebrate her
studio.
performance.
Stat.
Okay, we'll get
Sorry.
to we'll talk about Summer here in a little bit, but just to our viewing audience here, one thing we didn't mention at the top is that we did do finish line interviews with the men's podium at the top of the mountain today. Remy Bonnet, Johan Soladini,
Yeah.
and Chad Hall.
We got
so anyway, we're focused on the women's podium here in the post-race show, and we do hope that Summer Allen can make her way in here. So Christian Allen, please do pick up some slack here.
Yeah, take the 8-month-old off her hands.
Anyway, Pema, is that how I say your name, or is it Pima? Pema, congratulations on an amazing third place performance here at the Dragons Back Ascent and Mammoth Trail Fest.
Il te félicite beaucoup pour être là et pour avoir été troisième place.
Oui, merci beaucoup.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sure. So maybe introduce yourself also. So you're Pema's coach? Are you her father also?
Yeah, I am her father and
Yeah.
her coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your name?
My name is Gilberto Franchi,
Yeah.
and so we live in Ecuador,
Yeah.
but we are different nationalities. She was born there in Ecuador, so she's Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
I'm Brazilian and Italian, and the mother is French. The brother was born in France.
No, right?
No.
And he had a great race today also.
Yeah, he did pretty good. He was very happy because he's coming from a pretty tough phase with injuries and all that. So he spent almost 3 or 4 months going up and down on his shape. But he's coming back. Actually, he's doing better again.
And I heard that are you racing the 50K tomorrow?
No.
Okay.
No.
Someone told me that you were racing too,
No,
and I was like,
I'm
"Man,
just
man."
running behind them.
Okay, perfect.
But not doing any type of race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheering,
Yeah.
sporting.
And how old are you, Pema?
Quel âge tu as?
11.
11 years old, finishing
Yeah.
third place. I'll pull up the official finishing time here, but definitely one of the stories of the day as we were sitting in studio here doing the commentary for the race.
Mm.
Of course, you know, the whole chat on YouTube was celebrating your amazing accomplishment today. So maybe
Il y a, il y a
to
eu beaucoup de célébrations autour de ta victoire aujourd'hui. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont été en train de chatter dans l'internet
Mm.
et parler de toi.
Oui, après j'ai regardé le live en direct après l'épreuve et j'ai vu qu'ils ont beaucoup parlé de moi.
Yeah, just after arriving at home, she was looking at the live, and she saw that many people are around her and were talking about her.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Talk about the family athletic journey together. I think that would be a fun thing for the audience to understand. Obviously, you being the father and the coach, your brother had a great race today. You had a great race today. I'd love to just hear about the
Yeah.
the dynamic
As a
in the
coach,
family.
that's a question for. Yeah. Actually, it has been a long time. We have been in sports, me and my wife. My wife was a swimmer. I was a diver. And so I did physical education. And then they were swimmers, Noam and Pema, till last year. So they started running 1 year ago. And actually, we live on the mountains, and we always loved going outside for the mountains. And so we decided to change sport and start running. That's how it happened.
Would you like to say a few words about, you know, living in a family of athletes, how that inspires you?
Le fait de vivre dans famille, comment cela t'inspire pour pour ton activité sportive, pour les entraînements, etc.
Ben, vivre comme ça dans la nature avec ma famille, moi je trouve beaucoup mieux de vivre en ville parce que tu peux être beaucoup plus concentré à faire ce que tu aimes et tu peux entraîner beaucoup plus concentré et être toujours en contact avec la nature. J'ai beaucoup aimé.
She's mainly talking about the contact with the nature. It's much easier to be in nature already because we get out of the house, we are already running on the mountain. We live at 3,000 meters high. And so it's a perfect place for training trail running.
Yeah, I'm curious, for only racing for 1 year, only running for 1 year, you've gotten to race a lot, and I'm curious what your favorite race has been this season.
Ça fait juste 1 an seulement que tu cours et elle veut savoir quelle est ta course favorite, quel type de course favorite pour toi.
Ben, mais je préfère les kilomètres verticales parce que je suis beaucoup meilleure en montée. Et en fait, ça fait pas vraiment 1 an que je cours parce qu'avant, je faisais de la natation. J'étais la meilleure en catégorie de mon pays en Équateur et au Brésil. Et ça me travaillait beaucoup déjà la respiration. Et ouais, mes courses préférées, c'est les kilomètres verticales.
Yeah, actually, it's the vertical kilometer. Obviously, because her weight and she's much better climbing, and she's not in advantage. She's taking profit of that.
Yeah.
And of course, when the races are going too fast and going too much long time going down or flat, she's too much smaller than the others, so
Yeah.
she's not advantaged. So, but going up, yes, she can go pretty
Very
fast.
fast.
Yeah.
She's going now almost the same speed as Noam.
Hey, right.
In
We saw that
training.
today.
Yeah, in
Wow.
training, she's going pretty good too. So
Incredible.
the other thing she mentioned is that qu'est-ce que tu as dit, pardon, après ça? Que c'était pas 1 année seulement.
Ouais.
Actually, she is not running only 1 year. Well, she has been playing outside much longer than that because we live on the mountains. And also because she has been swimming for 6 years. As the brother, they were champion in swimming. And the brother was specialist in open water. And she was doing quite a lot of good races on medium distance in swimming pool. So she was Brazilian champion on her category, her group age, and Ecuadorian champion. on her
Wow.
group age.
Unbelievable.
So that explains a little bit how come she comes from 1 year of training
Yeah.
and running and start getting good results already.
11 years old and already more sporting accolades than me. It's a little bit aggravating, but congratulations. I'm sure the audience would love to hear more about Ecuador in particular. Obviously, a lot of the favorite athletes who are here this weekend are Americans, Europeans.
Yeah.
We have some Kenyan athletes here.
Yeah.
I know Ecuador to be a mountainous place where a lot of climbing expeditions are.
Yeah.
But say a few words about the physical place, what it's like to live and train there.
Well, it's Ecuador. You have everything in very condensed geography. So you have the beach, this ocean. You have the mountains, and then you have Amazonia. And so it's mostly mountain. It's mountain all over.
Yeah.
And I used to say to many people that ask me that for me, it's the paradise of the trail running.
Huh.
Yeah, since we are doing that, I say, well, I'm trying to study try to learn a lot about trail running and adapt what I had before to her training. But the geography, the altitude, the climb, the weather, and even the food, it's so, everything is much more natural. So it's the paradise of the trail running.
Pema, would you like to add anything?
Si tu veux rajouter quelque chose par rapport à qu'est-ce que tu penses d'Équateur? Qu'est-ce que tu penses de l'Équateur pour le sport qu'on fait et pour les activités en montagne?
Ben, l'Équateur, c'est très bien parce qu'en fait, tu peux un peu tout faire, si tu veux faire en altitude ou pas. Et je trouve que c'est merveilleux parce que les montagnes aussi, là-bas, elles sont très différentes d'ici. Mais tu peux entraîner en altitude quand tu veux. Tu peux faire du rythme sur le plan d'altitude. Et tu peux faire, en fait, un peu comme
Wait
tu
a
veux.
minute, because there's a lot of things there. She said that is a perfect place because we can get variations of altitude. So we live at 3,000, but we can go very easy at 4,000 to 4,005 and do trainings there with different rhythms there, and then go down to different type of training lower. And even if we wanted, we could go very easy, kind of 1 hour maximum, going very low because it's going up and down. And
Should start hosting training camps there. Sounds perfect.
We're on our way.
And she said also that the paths, the trails are very different from here. That's the main difference because it's much less runnable. So the point is that they are in altitude and it's not runnable, and so they become slower.
But stronger.
Stronger, let's say stronger, especially for a vertical.
In what ways are the trails slower? Are they more
Well,
technical?
it's much more technical
steeper?
and much more is going up steep, going down steep.
Okay.
Most of them. There are very few races that she can choose to go where she can run faster. So when we were in the headlands,
Very fast.
it was pretty hard for her.
Very long, very
Yeah.
fast.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about the race today. It was,
Il veut parler de la course aujourd'hui.
yeah. I mean, you could just maybe walk us through your performance today. What went well? Where did it maybe feel less than perfect? We'd love to just hear about
Il
it.
veut que tu commences à parler de ta performance et qu'est-ce que tu as senti bien, comment ça s'est déroulé la course pour toi.
Mhm. Je savais qu'il y avait une partie plate au début, donc je savais qu'il fallait que je parte très forte pour pas être trop désavantagée. Du coup, quand je suis rentrée sur le sentier, j'étais déjà dans un bon rythme et j'avais déjà bien entamé la montée.
Attends un petit peu. She knew that she had to start very fast because it was a flat, little portion of the race, but she didn't want to get too behind just in the beginning. So she did the maximum she could just at the start of the climb. And then when she got at the middle, quand tu es arrivé au milieu,
Après, quand je suis arrivée à peu près aux 100 mètres de dénivelé, j'avais déjà bien trouvé mon rythme. J'étais déjà dans une position que j'ai maintenue jusqu'au bout, un rythme. Et j'étais contente parce que ça me motivait, parce que je voyais toujours quelques garçons devant moi qui m'aidaient à maintenir un bon rythme.
Okay, when she arrived at about 100 meters the elevation, the gain, there's a little flat, and then she felt that she could maintain the reach that she got there.
Cool.
And then she started to keep this rhythm the whole race. That was her main thoughts. And also there were many boys in front of her who were going more or less on the same rhythm, and so it helped her a lot because she could maintain the same pace.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
17th overall, 49 minutes, 8 seconds, third place in the women's race. Unbelievable. One of the stories of the day, for sure. One of the stories of the weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah. Are you racing on Sunday too, or just
No,
today? No.
no,
Okay.
no.
Is Noam racing?
Yes.
Noam is racing, yeah.
So we'll be
Noam is
cheering.
racing, yeah.
Okay.
I think she's vacation now.
Oh, perfect. Good.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
deserved.
Because we
well
have been
deserved.
running, we have been racing since
season.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a national race that we got the ticket to go to Sierra Zinal from that national race. It's a Petzl Trail Plus race.
Yeah.
Right.
We heard about that.
We
We
did hear
heard.
about
Yeah, and so and then we came back. We had some local races, and then immediately then we came here. It
Wow.
was pretty close everything.
So
Yeah.
off season now.
Yeah, kind of, because we can run. That's another thing that's good in Ecuador. We can run all along the day, the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Amazing.
congratulations. And yeah, let's just repeat also that Noam, your son, finished, he's 20 years old?
He's 20 years
So
old.
20 years old. He finished 8th place in 41 minutes, 29 seconds. So both of you within the top 10. Congratulations on an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, et te remercie encore et te félicite beaucoup. Et félicite Noam aussi pour être arrivé en 8e. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
It's great to get to know
Yeah.
you both.
Congratulations.
Big round of applause for Pema. Pema Franchi, is that how we say it? Pema Franchi and Roberto, right?
Gilberto.
Roberto.
Yeah, Gilberto is saying English, I think.
Okay.
Gilberto.
Yeah.
Gilberto French.
Great to meet you both,
Yeah,
and thanks
thanks
for
a lot.
coming in the
Thanks.
studio. Thank you, guys. All right, and Summer Allen is in studio here.
Baby in tow.
One baby in tow.
Summer, it took us until like 15 minutes ago to realize that we've like very much met you before and we know exactly who you are.
We're like, of course, yeah. Summer Allen.
think I would be seeing you so soon.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Grab a microphone. Okay, we are now joined in studio by our second place finisher here in the women's race of the Dragon's Back Ascent, Summer Allen from Utah, 46 minutes, 4 seconds, joined by
Special guest.
with another special guest,
This is Rocklyn.
Rocklyn. Proud of mom for sure. How are you feeling after an awesome VK today?
Pretty good. Do I need to put this closer?
a little
Okay.
Rocklyn will get in there too.
I actually like my lungs. I can definitely feel it in my lungs a bit, but honestly, like I was just out there having fun. It was a blast, and I don't feel too bad because I got to hot tub and I took a short nap, and here we are.
So we met each other at UTMB. Obviously, your husband Christian was doing OCC, and he's obviously had a great season as well. So maybe just introduce yourself a little bit more to the audience, because you had an awesome race today, and I'm sure myself and many other people would love to learn.
Okay, so yeah, my name's Summer Allen. I was born and raised in Utah. I've always loved the mountains. My family all runs, so I came from just a family of running. We own a running store that is along the Wasatch Front. It's in Orem, called Runner's Corner. And let's see, what else?
Do you race often?
Well,
Just getting back into running is what it sounds like.
yeah. So I do, but usually it's kind of like a last minute thing, like, oh, hey, like Christian's doing a race. And then it's like, oh, they have this race. Do you want to do it? And then I just say, oh, yeah, that sounds fun. And so then he signs me up or something. So that's usually how it goes. But I actually do love the trail scene. I love the running community, but especially the trail community is super fun. And I was a collegiate runner. That's how Christian and I met. So we met running at Weber State University, and I met him going into my junior year. We got married going into my senior year, and right after we got married, well, like a month after we got married, I found out that I was pregnant with our first child. So we had a honeymoon baby. So that was when Miles came along. So then I got an extra year of eligibility, and I just felt like I wasn't done yet, but didn't know how it was going to work out. And so I don't know how to, it worked out better than I could have possibly imagined. And at the time I was like, I feel like I have unfinished business running, but I don't know how this is going to work out. And Christian, he's always been a strength and inspiration for me. And he just said, you just need to have a little faith and things are going to work out. And it was crazy how things just kind of lined up. And I ended up being able to do some really cool things after Miles was born. And then I had a few like reps reach out to my coach to see if I wanted to run professionally. And when I was nearing the end of my eligibility, and I just said I wanted to have another baby first. And so we had another one. And when he was 6.5 months old, that was Boston, I got pregnant with her. So that was a really big surprise.
3 in a row. Yeah.
Yes. But I've always wanted a lot of kids, but I feel like you can do both. And so, it's like a lot harder now. I'm not nearly as competitive as I once was, but it was fun to show up today with just literally no expectations and go into it. And like, I was literally just out there having a blast and enjoying the views. And then somebody near the top said I was in second, and I was like totally shocked. And I was like, are you serious? Anyways, that was a fun surprise. So I know it's not quite as deep as like the men's race was today, but it was still fun just to be out there and like feel competitive.
Oh, we're figuring out childcare for Broken Arrow next year.
There we go.
We'll figure it out. I'll commentate and babysit. We'll do whatever it takes to get you in that VK.
Sweet.
I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear just like the practical realities of, obviously you guys travel and compete sort of like as a family. You said that Christian is obviously like racing at a very high level right now, and you just sort of jump into races as it feels appropriate. But it's great to kind of share that as a unit. Probably, again, your whole family was in Europe just last month too. Say a few words about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's not what most people would call the ideal setup for professional running because there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that is, unplanned for, and it's difficult, but it's also super rewarding. Like, I don't know how to describe, like, I feel like you only know how awesome and rewarding parenting is once you step into that role. And it's terrifying, but it's awesome at the same time. But we both just have this passion for running, and so we just figure out how to make it work. And yeah, I'd say the hardest part is probably the travel, and then just kind of the logistics of the day to day. Like, when's Christian going to get his run in? And then am I going to get a run in? Like, it's a really good week for me if I hit 30 miles.
Wow.
But we do what we can. And I feel like there is some strength that comes with just being a mom and, lugging, like I'm carrying my 2-year-old and my 8-month-old up the stairs frequently, like at the same time. Or I don't lift weights right now. That would be nice. I used to be really pretty dedicated with my strength training. And right now it's all just carrying kids upstairs or squatting down, holding one kid and balancing on one leg. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just different. And there are a lot of things that like I feel like I could do better at, but I just haven't quite figured out or nailed yet. Like, my recovery could, arguably be much better. I always like aim for foam rolling after running, and it happens like maybe 2% of the time. So I don't know, just things happen. As soon as I step through the door, it's like, Mom, look at this, Mom. Like I'm
Dylan's
being,
taking notes right now. He's like,
Yes,
this
I-
sounds
Oh, yeah.
exactly
I
like
have a
my life.
2-year-old boy. Yeah.
oh, it's
My life
great.
is absolute chaos. Having
And that's one. That's one
yeah,
2-year-old.
that's one.
It is. It's like it just gets more chaotic, but also more fun.
Yeah.
So, and it's really cute to see the kids interact. Like I wouldn't do it any other way. So, yeah.
Amazing.
I guess like obviously you guys are here racing this weekend, racing as a unit, generally speaking. What's next for the whole Allen family?
That's a good question. What's next?
Because you guys
So
have had a busy year.
yeah, we have had a busy year. Rockland has some things to say. I'm not sure how to translate that, but yeah, Christian is doing the 26K on Sunday.
We had a
And
great race last weekend.
oh
Was
yeah.
the whole family there in Marin last
No,
weekend?
no.
Oh.
So that was kind of one like we were still recovering from coming back from Europe, and I was like, "How about you just go out?" Like he found some cheap flights, and I didn't want to do a 14-hour drive with the kids,
Yeah.
so we did it was an 8.5-hour drive yesterday, but you have to stop, and so we were in the car for over 10 hours. And that was just what we did.
Just the
But
perfect warm up for the VK.
yeah, it was great. We got to our Airbnb super late last night, got a few hours of sleep, and luckily Christian's parents, they came out, so they've been helping us with the kids this trip, which has been like super nice because it takes some pressure off of both of us. But yeah, as far as like what's coming up next, Christian's doing the 26K, and then after that, we actually were doing a race in Arkansas, so like the dirt circus
Oh,
10K.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out how to like dial in some better training for that because I haven't really I'm maybe not the best at planning ahead right now. So we'll figure out how to switch over to like some 10K training. And then Christian wants to do a marathon. He's just not sure which one yet. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's always fun. It's kind of more of like a spontaneous thing for me, and he does a little bit more planning ahead, but it can also be spontaneous for him. And we just say, "Hey, let's go on this trip," and we just figure out the details and we go. So
Oh,
it's fun.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say he was our rookie of the year pick, I think,
Right.
last
Yep.
year. And now it's like we're gonna have to watch out for the whole Allen family.
That's right.
Well, I kind of liked being like an underdog, and maybe don't say too much because
We won't
Yeah,
tell,
here you
we
are on
won't
the
tell
Mountain
too
Outpost
many people
YouTube
about
channel.
you.
You're instantly famous. Come on. Before we let you go, just talk us through the race today. How did it play out? How'd you feel? What did it feel like to break the tape in second place?
Okay, yeah. So let's see. The race was about to start. I was still doing strides, or at least trying to. I was like, oh, maybe I should do some strides. I got there like really late. That's usually what happens. Something happens, and she woke up before I left, and I was like, oh, I better feed her one more time, put her back down, and try to get her to sleep. So I showed up like right before they closed bib pickup. And yeah, I was doing some strides, and I took off my jacket like 30 seconds before the start. Oh, there we go. That's so cute. And yeah, let's see. The gun went
Just
off.
hit
I
the
was kind of
gas.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, probably like 15 feet or so back from the start, and got a little slow start and realized that I probably shouldn't have started that far back. So I spent the first like mile and a half just kind of picking people off, trying to pass people. And it's really hard to do on a single track, but I didn't like do a course preview or anything, so I had no idea. So that was a little bit challenging. And I was kicking myself, like even in the first like quarter mile, like I knew I started out too slow and too far back. So I'll change things if, I come back next year, which I would like to because this course was beautiful.
Yeah.
The rest of the race, I was really just kind of like looking around, enjoying the view. It was super fun. And then you get to the summit, and it was just fun, like being up there. And the wind was insane. It gets like
Yeah, it
super
gets
cold
windy.
all of a sudden. And I was not cold at all until I got to like the top of the first summit. And then I could see the finish line, and I was really happy that it was close by. Anyways, yeah, it was just fun. I had no clue what place I was in, and somebody like just over 2 miles into the race told me that I was a second place female, and I wasn't sure if I should believe that or not,
Yeah.
but it sounded legitimate, so I was like, "Sweet." I just kept gunning for it, and yeah, I got to the top, and my husband and 2 boys were there, and that was awesome.
That's so rad.
This is the best. This
So-
is
Truly the best sport in the world.
It was super fun. Actually, the energy at the race, like especially the finish line, was just like super awesome.
Yeah.
So, and saw a couple people that I actually knew, which was fun. Like the trail and the running world is just so small, which is like so fun.
Well,
So,
congratulations. It sounds like Rockland's probably ready to go do something more entertaining. But
Yes.
it's so great to get to know you a little bit here.
Thank
Summer.
you.
Congratulations on your second place performance, and good luck, I guess, managing the 3 kids while Christian goes to battle on Sunday. And we'll be cheering for him too.
thank you. Thanks
Big
so
round
much
of
for having
applause.
me.
Summer Allen, second place. Were those the best 3 interviews in
Best
the history of podcasting or trailgating there? That was so cool.
That was absolutely epic.
Abby Locke, Summer Allen, and Pema Franchi, your women's podium here at the Dragon's Back Ascent, the Mammoth Trail Fest 2024. That was so stinking fun.
I'm inspired.
Before we wind down today's show, we do want to just do a quick recap of the race and then preview the 50K tomorrow. So we don't need to spend a ton of time on the recap. Maybe we just go through the men's podium, and Corrine, you can add any takeaways that you had from that. Remy Bonnet, of course, won in 33:18. He also broke his own Strava CR here on the segment. So Remy Bonnet, our champion here today, about a minute and 45 seconds behind him. Jonas Soldini, also a Swiss runner, 35:01. Third place, Chad Hall, 36:12. That was the men's podium. Again, if you missed the finish line interviews with them, you can go and watch that on the recording of the live stream that we did this morning.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think for me, the big breakout there was to see Jonas Soldini, just like not someone that I was familiar with, made a super last minute decision to do the race as a medical student in Switzerland. Yeah, just excited to follow along with another character.
Yeah, so cool. I'm just remembering now that I have the ability to share my screen. So to our production staff, if you could share my screen quickly. The first thing that we're looking at here is just proof that Remy Bonnet and Abby Locke broke both the Strava CRs on the segment here today. Strava segment for Remy is now 32:37. For Abby Locke, it's 43 flat. Again, we'll see if both of those remain standing after the 26K on Sunday, where there will be a parade of world-class athletes who will also be sprinting up the Dragon's Back ascent. Moving to the preview of the 50K, which will start tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. I think we're still sharing my screen here. Does it still look good? Okay, great. So we're just looking at the course here quickly before we get into some of the characters that we expect to perform well. This is Nick Handel's winning Strava file from the Mammoth Trail Fest 50K 2023. So, Corrine, I don't know if you want to kind of talk people through it. This is your first time here. I don't know if you have much experience on the trails, but pretty straightforward when you look at the profile.
I mean, straightforward in the sense that it's rolling, it's punchy.
Yeah.
You have a mega climb, again, ending up high like they did today, above 11,000 feet, before ripping back downhill. But it's got what for total elevation?
5,800 feet of climbing, just under 33 miles. So a little bit long, but not a crazy amount of ascent based on where we sit here in the Eastern Sierra. Punctuated, of course, by the massive climb that you see in the middle of the course profile here. That is the Dragon's Back ascent. So that is the same climb that we've been talking about for the duration of our shows here today.
Yeah, historically fastest times on that. So that's Nick Handel's winning race from last year in 4:22. Chad Hall has the winning time, the fastest time ever on it Nick's is from 2023. Chad 2022 of 3:58.52 on the women's side.
Chad went under 4 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to remember too, like real altitude beast in Chad, and it's for a 50K, it's got really modest climbing in it, despite that really punchy climb in the middle. Under 6K of climbing for a 50K. That kind of almost falls into like the rolling category. People are gonna skewer me in the comments for that, but it's it doesn't have 10K climbing in it, for example. And then on the women's side, MK Sullivan has the fastest course time from last year in 5:13:19. Claire Rhodes in 5:12:19 from 2022. So that's kind of what we anticipate seeing out there tomorrow as well. Probably, you know, I don't know that we're seeing anyone go sub 4 tomorrow unless that is someone like Chad, or maybe we'll talk about the field here in a
Yeah.
second. And probably about, yes, probably 4 hours and 5 hours is what we're looking at for winning times coming out of our fields tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. So maybe moving towards talking about the field, one last comment on the course here. You'll notice that it is a clean single loop course, which is very cool. So no trail is repeated. The entire 33 miles of it are fresh, beautiful, high alpine trails here in the Mammoth Lakes area. Go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. Let's talk through some of the favorites in the 50K tomorrow before we sign off. Corrine, you want to get us started?
Yeah. Do you want to start with men or women?
What evsies? What do you think?
What evsies? I feel like we can touch on the women. I think it's kind of a wide open field depending on who actually shows up from our start list.
Right.
We've got people like Lauren Puretz. If Lauren Puretz is racing, it's probably her 50K to lose. Of those listed, she's got probably the most reps under her belt as far as being a fast 50K runner, lives in Colorado Springs, very talented. She just raced World Trail Masters in Europe, so I'm not sure if her travel right now is traveling home from that or traveling to see us here in Mammoth. So
and she was the world champion.
And she was the world champion as a in the 40 plus Masters age group. So really stellar to see that. But Sylvie Abel is also on the start list. We saw her at Big Alta. Super, super talented. I think she can run really well.
She got second at the Headlands 50K too, behind Lindsay Allison, which is the USATF 50K.
So she's got some wheels. It's kind of like, how will she feel at elevation and at altitude is kind of my big question there. We also have someone that we were kind of looking at today, Kennedy Riffner, who ended up finishing, I think, 9th in what was a hard race for her. She's coming back from 2 different major foot surgeries over the last 18 months and kind of racing her way back into fitness. Actually moved from the 26K to the 50K for that reason, to kind of race in what she feels is like a slightly slower race versus like the blitzing fast nature of the 26K.
Probably smart, isn't it?
But I do think that tomorrow we will have some surprises, at least for us in studio, because we will probably be seeing a few athletes making a name here in the 50K who are not household names by any means at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things we talked about today. What a great opportunity to make a name for yourself here at the Mammoth Trail Fest. Moving to the men, got a few interesting characters here, starting with the Enigma, Mr. Chad Hall, who had a solid 3rd place run today.
Yeah, and it's like, depending on the order of the 3 races, like, I guess I haven't checked. Is he signed up for Sunday too?
He's not. I did check.
So we do expect Chad to race tomorrow then, and likely be pushing at the front of this field. He's the only person that's ever gone under 4 hours here. But we do have someone like Chris Myers, who we are fairly certain is racing. If he is actively traveling right now, we believe. Someone who I think we're really excited to see.
What a season he's had.
A great season.
3rd place at Black Canyon, very fast 10th place at Western States.
Yep, exactly. And kind of like he was one of the few guys that didn't race at UTMB, for example. So I would love to see him race really well here. I'm not sure what he has on his race docket for the remainder of the season, but I do also think that we've got Cole Watson. We should definitely mention. Yep. He, I think, is
had lunch with Cole today.
A known entity.
Absolute sweetie pie and a great athlete to boot. So shout out to Cole Watson, who he's coming off a fairly disappointing CCC. He felt like he didn't have any gas in the tank.
He said he's feeling really good though, because it didn't take that much out of him, because I don't think he could push there very much. Right. But then we've got some interesting names. So one that I pulled out was Emilio Anyahapel, a younger Colorado guy, has done really well in a number of short kind of marathon length trail races. He threw down in a big way at the Silverton Alpine Marathon back in July, running 3:32 on that course. So very fast at high elevation, which suits those runners well in a race like this. And then you had mentioned someone who is actually crashing with you this week.
Yeah, crashing with me. Bashash Walio. I just met him in person in the village as we were walking into studio here. Somebody who I don't know very well personally, but when we did our whole thing with Joan last weekend or 2 weekends ago at Cirque Series, our inboxes and DMs were inundated to also check out this kid, Bashash, who's also from the Gunnison/Crested Butte area, evidently a very hard worker. He just won the Grand Traverse 40-mile race between Crested Butte in Aspen, Colorado. And apparently he's Sarah Hall's training partner when
Oh.
she's there in the Gunnison Crested Butte area
He's
doing
got
her altitude
wheels.
training.
He's got
She's
wheels.
no
then.
slouch.
Definitely not. We couldn't train with her, that's for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, it'll be a very interesting race in the 50K tomorrow. We can go ahead and wrap up there, but tomorrow we will be back here in studio bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Corrine and I will be going live from these seats here. The starting pistol will go off only feet from where we sit at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, and we will be live here on the Mountain Outpost channel for the duration of that awesome 50K race.
Yeah, we're excited. We'll have finish line interviews. We're gonna have another cool recap show tomorrow as well. So looking forward to a very full Saturday because I believe that's the day of the week it will
Yeah.
be. But it's gonna be good.
And maybe Rhodes will be racing the kids race tomorrow afternoon.
I will
See if we
cover.
have
I
time.
will cover for you if you've got to go. If you got to go, you got to go support the 1K.
Just go be the ultimate soccer dad and crack the whip on my 2-year-old son in the kids race.
As long as there's a tractor in front of him the whole
Yeah.
time, he'll be good to go.
Yeah, before we sign off, you just mentioned that we will be doing a recap show tomorrow night also. So not to get too far ahead of ourselves, again, we'll be in studio all day tomorrow for the 50K, and then Corrine and I will be back to do a similar recap show. And in that recap show for the 50K, we'll do similar athlete interviews we expect. And then we're going to trailgate for the Golden Trail World Series race, the 26K that's going to happen on Sunday.
It's gonna
That's
happen
it,
because we're
exactly right.
excited, and they've kicked us off the mic Sunday morning, so we got to take all the time we get tomorrow.
Yeah, so big thank you to the team behind the scenes, the whole Mountain Outpost crew. Couldn't do it without you. Smash that subscribe button if you're watching us here on YouTube. For Corrine Malcolm, I'm Debo. See you at 7:15 Pacific time tomorrow morning. Peace out.